Welcome to Pineapple Pizza Podcast, where we serve up slices of mythology, cryptozoology, and urban legends. It's an interesting combination of flavors. Weird, but it works. Today we have a visiting chef, or what did you call it? Saucier.
Saucier.
Who will be serving up one of their favorites. I'm your hostess, Emily, and with me are the wonderful Ashley and Lindsay.
Hi.
Hello.
Please join us in welcoming Chris from the State of Fear podcast.
Hello, ladies.
Welcome.
Welcome.
So glad to be in this restaurant right next to Bob's Burgers. It smells amazing.
It is the perfect pizzeria to be right next to Bob's Burgers, I think.
And I do love pizza. We just had it a couple times last 2 nights in a row. I love pineapple pizza, actually. Yes, I do like pineapple pizza. I think it's delicious.
Then you'll fit right in.
Awesome.
All right, so we have a few questions to introduce our patrons to you and your show a little bit before we get going into your special dish for tonight.
All right.
So can you tell us a little bit about your show? When did you and your co-host James first begin State of Fear?
We began it in January. It was about 8 months after we started our original podcast, which is a podcast about really crappy horror movies that we watch and then make fun of, and also still recommend to the listener because we love them because they're so good. So they're so bad they're so good. But James and I are a part of a paranormal investigative group here in Houston, and I've actually been actively investigating paranormal since 2004. And we got into the idea of doing that because I'd always wanted to do a paranormal type podcast or a paranormal and true crime podcast. But for some reason, instead of starting with that, we started with movies. So about 8 months in, once we really got our feet on the ground, realized what we were doing, trying to figure out what the hell we were doing. We're like, dude, let's do this other podcast. But we needed to come up with a niche because there are a bunch of paranormal podcasts out there. Well, James and I are both veterans, and we both have a great love for this country. And we're like, you know what? Nobody's done a show that breaks down the weird or the scary state by state. So let's do that. And at the very least, we're guaranteed at least 50 episodes. So we have, a good little season going on. And so in January, we went ahead and recorded our first episode, Alabama. For the most part, we tend to try to do more obscure stuff because we love to learn as well. So we've done a couple episodes many episodes actually we've done are topics that he and I neither have heard of. So that's been a lot of fun to learn all this new stuff and new scary stuff that happens in states that I will probably never visit now because all this stuff has happened. I don't want to go be a part of that.
So when do your episodes drop?
That's funny. Normally Fridays. Lately they've been dropping a little late, sometimes Sunday. We are on a little break right now, but they drop every Friday, usually early in the morning, because that's when I set them up too. But every Friday you can usually go find a new episode of State of Fear anywhere you can listen to podcasts, including YouTube.
Oh, nice. You're on YouTube. That's too much work. I can't do that. So I have a question for you.
Sure. Shoot.
As you're going through these, have you hit that point yet where you go, oh shit, I forgot that was a state?
No, actually I haven't, because I'm pretty okay with my geography. I want to say I'm not really sure, but I think so. Yeah. But there was a time when, because we set up folders in our G drive, and we set up folders with each state so that we could drop stories in, so we could look at them and pick one from we want. Well, trying to drop in 50 folders at once can get confusing. So there were times where we actually ended up skipping a state because we forgot our actual states by alphabetical order. Mm-hmm. So that's happened. But the other cool thing is that James is very well traveled. And so every episode, James has been to every single state in the union except for North Dakota, I believe. So James always has a little story about visiting a state.
Hawaii and Alaska, but not North Dakota.
Yeah, I know, right? I think
no one wants to go to North Dakota.
Sorry, North Dakota.
I mean,
yeah.
Unless you're an oil worker, then you do.
Oh yeah, Ashley has a story about that.
Yeah. So thankfully we haven't had that moment yet.
Delaware's the state I always forget. I feel
Really?
like I can remember everything, and I totally forget that Delaware exists. Sorry,
Close
Delaware.
to us, Emily. Get out.
I don't know why.
Did Wayne's World do that to you?
I don't remember Wayne's World well enough to get that reference.
Oh no! Okay, we'll go watch it and see. Yeah, there's a short little clip where they're using the green screen and they're traveling different states or whatever. And the 2 states they do are like Texas and something else, and they do like all the stereotypes, like Texas is all guns and cowboys, and then I think they do California with like surfing dude or whatever. And then when they get to Delaware, they're like, "I'm in Delaware."
That's funny. All right, so we're cruising through some of our questions here. I think we're trying to come up with an answer to this one. What's one episode of yours that you would recommend to patrons of our pizzeria to check out first if they were going to head on over to your show? What's maybe your favorite one that you think is the best?
That is so difficult. Definitely later episodes because we sound better and we don't sound like morons. So our flow's better. Oh man! And actually, as you were saying that, I'm scrolling through my list of episodes now. Probably the coolest one is one we did recently. It's Ohio. We did a story about a couple of Bigfoot hunters who went out to Ohio. I was just totally thrown off by your YMCA there.
That's not OHIO. I'm a Buckeye.
It took me a second to figure out what was going on, but I was like, oh, yeah, you threw me off. So.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Ohio. So a couple of Bigfoot hunters went looking for Bigfoot, and they captured some very, very creepy, amazing howls on audio. And so we actually played those bits in the show.
That's cool.
And I think that one, I would say that one is my favorite. Go check out that one. It's episode 36, Ohio Chased by Bigfoot. Or the one I was trying to allude to before was episode 31, New Jersey, the greatest mass UFO sighting ever told. That is a very fascinating case because I hadn't heard of that one, but apparently within the matter of an hour or so, this UFO was seen by just about everybody in town, including the mayor, several sheriffs, some city council members, because there was a city council meeting going on that night. So they were all heading in, and everybody in town just about saw this UFO.
So what I'm picking up on here is that you're not good at picking favorites.
I'm not.
They're all my children.
I'm a little biased, but I mean, there are some that are better than others. But yeah, I think honestly, you can't go wrong. But if I had to choose one, if there was one that you held a gun to my head and say, pick. This is the only one the listeners, new people can come and check out. It would definitely have to be Minnesota.
Wait, this is a total.
Okay, well,
How many states have we named off now?
yeah. Well, now, Lindsay, I need you to do the Minnesota with your hands, please. Like.
Oh no.
Yeah, so we covered the Minnesota Iceman, which was a supposed Bigfoot that was captured in a block of ice and put on display on a like a traveling circus for a while. Eventually, it was lost to time, and then somebody apparently supposedly found it. And there's a Museum of the Weird here in Austin, or in Texas, in Austin, that bought it several years ago. And I actually went to go see it at that museum, and it's very, very weird looking. The story is that at some point, the guy who owned it was worried about because it looked very human, was worried about being charged with murder because he had this body that he had. So it went away for a bit. When it came back, he says that he had a perfect rubber replica made. And that was what he was displaying for a while.
Rubber.
Yeah. And so there's some debate whether the one that's in Austin is the authentic one or it's the fake one. I don't know. It looked pretty good. Again, it's under 3 inches of ice.
Oh, I was going to say, it's pretty easy to test the difference between rubber and flesh.
Yeah. And I think they I don't know why they haven't, and there's probably, same with the whole Bigfoot in the freezer fiasco from many, many years ago. It's probably why they haven't let anybody, is that going over your head? Okay. Anyway, there was many years ago, there were a couple of guys who approached this Bigfoot named Tom Biscardi and said that they had a Bigfoot they killed and put in a deep freeze, and that they wanted to sell it to him because he was a Bigfoot hunter. And so he went on this press junket to announce that he was going to reveal to the world that he had a live Bigfoot. Bought the freezer as it thawed out, whoop-de-doo. It was just a bunch of animal entrails and a fake gorilla outfit.
Blech. Blech. Ugh.
Yeah.
Resale value for that freezer is 0.
Burn it.
Yeah, don't use it again. So there's maybe that's why they don't want anybody to test it, but it's still there. And I mean, if it is a rubber outfit, they went to the trouble of including everything in this replica, and I mean everything. Let's just say it's definitely a male, and
You'll fit right in here at this show.
Yeah.
We know what that means.
And I do want to say this because one thing that I saw, one thing that's been reported that is interesting, speaking of the male genitalia, speaking of the family jewel, they said that the male's, the creature's scrotum is actually attached to its leg.
Ow.
Ew.
Mm-hmm. Like not by any sort of like surgery or anything like that. Like just the way it formed. So
we now know that Bigfoot cannot do the splits.
No, he's not a high jumper. But he's probably perfected the art of the fast walk like the old ladies do. You know.
I was going to say probably not very good at lunges.
No.
Or high jumps.
No, none of that. No, he definitely cannot do that. But yeah, so. But also, we also covered the Minnesota Ice Woman, which is this case of a woman who went out late in a bad storm one night, and she crashed her car and tried to walk to the nearest house, ended up falling about 10 or 15 feet from the door, falling on the ground, and was completely frozen when she was found by the occupant the next morning at 6 a.m., which is about, I think, 5 or 6 hours after she fell. Completely frozen. They brought her in. She was completely stiff. Took her to the hospital, and through, a medical miracle or intervention, she recovered completely without any problems whatsoever.
Hey, I'm an asshole, and I totally picture that being like the cartoons when an animal's frozen, and all you can see are the blinky eyes like Scrat in Ice Age.
I listened to that episode, and I really liked it.
Yeah,
I was
so
listening to it when I was walking my dog, and when you got to the part where you're talking about how she made a full recovery, I was like, holy shit, like super loud. I got my headphones on, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm outside, I should probably watch my mouth.
That's probably my favorite episode of all time. So because it covers 2 different topics, it's 2 for the price of 1.
It's a twofer.
It's a twofer.
And a stuck nut.
Is it like the jewels in the cup? They got stuck.
I mean, his jewels are stuck, just not to a cup.
Oh, Japan, I am so sorry.
We didn't go into tentacle territory, so I think we're golden.
We may have brought up tentacle territory at one point.
we touched on it. It was not the main running gag of the entire episode. We stuck to the testicles. That's where we landed.
So we're the leg.
So we're the leg.
You gotta insert a drum roll on that one.
All right. Well, it sounds like you've given us some really good food for thought. Now I think you have.
Oh my God.
I'm funny, damn it.
So funny.
How wonderful that was.
It was accidental.
It would have been so good if you hadn't been like.
Joel always asks me, do they actually think you're as funny as you think you are?
Wow, Joel. Wow. Yes, we do. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
She
play
is
that.
a goddamn national treasure.
She is a goddamn national treasure, just like the turkey.
If Ben Franklin was alive, he would appoint Emily as the national bird.
I can't breathe.
There's an ongoing Ben Franklin thing.
So sorry.
Hey folks, I'm Chris.
Hey, and I'm James.
Did you know that the state of Delaware has had only one serial killer since its creation?
Did you know that the state of Arizona has one of the best cases of alien abduction on record?
Did you also know that famed untouchable Elliot Ness was thwarted by the Cleveland torso murderer?
What in the world? That sounds absolutely terrifying.
Are you ready for a road trip? If so, please join James and I each episode as we discuss all this and more on State of Fear Podcast.
Ride shotgun on our dark and wonderful ride down America's byways and highways as we unravel the strange and macabre in your state.
State of Fear, where the things that go bump in the night are in your backyard.
So, what is the special that you selected to feature for us today?
So, it's a little bit urban legend, a little bit true crime.
Ah.
So
You're one of those guys.
I am. I can't help but always associate something urban legend or mythical or even creepypasta related to something that actually occurred. So today I'm going to discuss I believe it's the only actual case of someone dying from tainted Halloween candy.
I know this story.
Me too.
All right, awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, we all know the urban legend of tainted Halloween candy. You know, your parents got to check the candy when you get in. I really think that's just like a candy tax that parents get to pick their favorite ones and then let the kids have the rest. You know, I think it's all like it's all a market. It's all it is.
You'll be doing that very soon.
I do that now, but yeah, I'll be doing it. Well, yeah.
I do that, so I can keep them.
I was going to say, Mom's story.
Yeah, it's all a racket. You know, but I mean, there is some truth to it, and this has been going on forever. I mean, there was an incident in Long Island in 1964 where this woman, Helen File, or Feel, however you want to say it, she did not like the fact that there were a lot of older kids trick-or-treating that year. So whenever an older kid came around, she would either give them a dog biscuit, a steel wool pad, or poison ant buttons.
Ooh.
Now,
Nice.
They claim that she took the precaution of telling the kids that they were practical jokes, but she was still arrested for endangering children because, you know, if the kid wasn't smart enough, he would have eaten the ant pill and would have been poisoned, you know. And the actual thing, one actual case that happened, of course, happened here in Houston, as all things do, unfortunately. In 1974, the guy's name, the wonderful man. Actually, let me preface that real quick. So they call him the Candyman, and they also call him the man who killed Halloween. I personally don't like the Candyman. I also don't think you should search the Candyman if you want to, because you will not come up with Ronald Clark O'Brien, who's the man who is the topic of the story. You will actually come up with a whole bunch of pages of Dean Arnold Corll, who was an American serial killer who killed and murdered at least 28 teenage boys and men here in Houston between 70 and 73, because, as I said, all things happen in Houston, apparently. And he was caught just a year before this incident occurred with Mr. O'Brien. So if you decide to go look for this, don't search Houston Candyman, because you'll only get Dean Corll information. It's better to search up the man who killed Halloween, because that's kind of more what he's known by. So real quick, because I know you guys like to quote sources, so I'll quote my sources. My information came from SmithsonianMag.com, InvestigationDiscovery.com, Gothamist.com, and a documentary called Killer Legends, which, if you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. Go check it out. They cover 4 different legends. They cover the legend of the Hookman or Makeout Point, which they attribute to the Texarkana Killer. They cover this Candyman, or the idea of candy being poison, thanks to this man. They cover the idea that clowns are scary, thanks to John Wayne Gacy. And then they cover the idea of the babysitter who's home alone when the call comes from inside the house, which was based on a couple of actual babysitter murders from when I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's a very, very good documentary, so go check it out.
They do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, this takes place October 31st, 1974. Ronald O'Brien and his family consisted of his wife, Diane, his son, Timothy, who was 8, and his daughter, Elizabeth, who was 5, had dinner with some neighbors, the Bates. And when they finished up, he took him and his 2 kids and 2 Bates boys out for trick-or-treating. Now, at one point during the evening, the fathers and the kid and their children stopped at home, but nobody answered and they left. O'Brien then drifted behind the group, but he came running back a short time later, waving 5 22-inch pixie stick straws packed with that sweet candy cocaine up in there. According to O'Brien, though, he stumbled upon some rich neighbors who gave him the treats. Now, he'd also say he got them from a weird neighbor. Later on, when the police tried to take him around to find the neighborhood or the house, of course, he couldn't find it. You know where it was. It's like it magically disappeared. Although at one point he did try to blame it on a certain house, and that didn't go well. So he gave the straw to 3 of the kids, and later gave one to Bates's daughter, and another to a 10-year-old boy from O'Brien's church they encountered while they were out trick-or-treating. Now, they went home, and as I don't know if this is a ritual of theirs. It's not of mine or that I'm going to do, but they were allowed to choose one piece of candy before they went to bed. I never got to do that. My kids are going to do that. Like, look, I'm going to check the candy while you're asleep, and then you can have it in the morning, whatever's left over.
You were robbed, man. I always dug right in.
Yeah, we let them have like 3 pieces before we're like, okay, now go to bed.
Oh, okay.
And then we root around and take the good ones.
Uh-huh.
No, I did get robbed. That's not cool. I had to wait till the next day.
Which one is the candy that always goes when you rob? Which one do you steal, Lindsay?
Oh, I like anything with coconut in it. So I think all the almond joys and the
Same.
mounds. Because my kids don't like them. My kids don't like them. So I'm like, well, I like coconut, so I will eat those. More people need to hand those out. I'm just saying.
No.
Coconut is delicious.
No.
What about you, Ashley? What's your go-to candy food?
Peanut butter cups. I don't even need to think about it.
Okay, so we got 2 peanut butter cups and 2 coconuts. I think we're good.
Freaking war. Come on, man.
So we're a nutty bunch.
Ours are hairier. Just kidding.
You can have it.
Podcast is full of nuts.
But they're not stuck to our legs, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a peanut butter nut right there, let me tell you.
At least ours aren't weird shaped. Peanuts are weird.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Between the peanut butter, it's not a peanut butter nut, and then ours aren't weird shaped. My brain went.
I think she's done for the night, folks.
She is.
So, of course, but okay, in this case, if I had gotten a 22-inch pixie stick, I definitely would have picked that one myself as well for the piece of candy, because, I mean, that's a gift that keeps on giving. There's no way. I mean, although it is kind of the worst one, because you will be up for about 4 hours nonstop.
That was the idea, man. You would just blow those things back because they were so good.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's those giant ones, man, so much sugar in those. Interesting thing was that when he went to get his pixie stick, he couldn't find the staple that normally accompanies those giant ones. It was not on one end of it. So that night we went to bed. Young 8-year-old Timothy poured the contents of the pixie straw into his mouth, and at one point remarked how the flavor was a bit sour sweet. I think it was like a strawberry one, and he commented it didn't taste like normal. The father told his son to go sip on some Kool-Aid to help wash it down.
Never drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So then at that point, a little while later, he started convulsing, and they took him to the hospital, which he passed away later that night. When detectives went to the house, the father was, of course, acting up like he was completely heartbroken, and he told the detectives that he held the boy in his arms as he died, and he put on a big show for everybody to show them that he was very, very distraught. Well, there were a lot of investigation back and forth. At one point, Ronald pointed out the home of a Courtney Melvin and said that he got the pixie sticks from there. Well, police detained him and interrogated him and found that he had an airtight alibi. He's a air traffic controller at William Hobby Airport and was at work that entire night. So then at one point during the investigation, believe it or not, the police got a call from O'Brien's insurance company and had some questions about the son's death. Well, in talking with the insurance company, it turns out that O'Brien had put life insurance policies on all of his kids, but not his wife and not him, just a month before Halloween.
That's not fishy at all.
Oh, no, not at all. So they began digging into his past and discovered that he had been fired from 21 jobs over the last 10 years.
What?
Wow, overachiever.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Underachiever.
How many jobs can I get fired from?
You almost have to work at it to get fired from 21.
I think it's harder to not work and get fired than it is to work and get fired. I don't know. But yeah, 21 jobs in 10 years. That's crazy. I mean, that's like 2 years, something like that.
How do you even support a family like that?
Well, he wasn't. Apparently, he was upwards of $100,000 in debt.
Ooh,
Oh my
ouch.
god, ouch. Ouch.
So they rightly believe that could be the motive for his murder, because they discovered that he had put insurance policies totaling $60,000 on his son and his daughter. And so after long investigation, they, of course, arrested him. He pled innocent from the day he was arrested until all through his trial in 1975, and even up till the day he was finally put to death in October 31st, 1984. Actually, I took that back. He also died on Halloween. Yeah.
10 years later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's poetic.
It's
It
very
is poetic.
Yeah. But even up to that day, he claimed he never did any of that, even though after they shifted their focus to O'Brien, all other leads ended up falling through for one way or another, either whether it was an alibi or was just a cold lead. And all of the evidence pointed to him being the murderer of his son, his 8-year-old son. And so, so on October 31st, 1984, he dined on his last meal, a meal of steak fries, peas, and Boston cream pie, and was declared dead at 12:48 a.m. by lethal injection before hundreds of people, some wearing costumes, who gathered outside the walls of Texas State Pen shouting, "Trick or treat."
That's cold, man.
I love it. It's
That's
stone cold.
Yeah, that is stone cold. And there were some people who were there who supported him, who still believed that he didn't kill his kids, but they were just insane. But oddly enough, there were a lot of kids from the college who were at his execution who were very happy for him to go, not just because he was obviously a murderer, but also because of the stigma that he ended up putting around Halloween and trick or treating. After that, it's the idea of tainted Halloween candy became more prevalent.
It's still a thing today.
Yeah, it still
They
is.
still put it on the news.
Chocolate, yeah. And it's on the news every year after that, or after he was caught. I believe in like 1983, there was a really famous letter that was sent into Dear Abby, talking about how to keep kids safe from tainted Halloween candy. Which there was a sociologist, I think out of your favorite state, Delaware, that.
Wait, we have a state named Delaware?
Yeah, he studied the phenomenon for over 30 years. And the only two examples he could find of actual Halloween candy tainting was the two that I brought up. The Helen File, who didn't really taint candy, but passed out ant poison and steel wool, which that's actually, I think... Okay, what's worse, steel wool or toothpaste?
Steel wool.
Steel wool.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get some use out of steel wool. I got plenty of toothpaste at the house, but I don't have enough steel wool. I get plenty of use out of that.
But think about it. You're getting a bag full of candy for Halloween. That toothpaste is going to come in handy. It's practical.
Okay. How many kids actually use the toothpaste versus the steel wool, though?
When was the last time you saw a kid pick up steel wool and go, "Ooh, what am I going to use this for?"
Make a toy out of anything, all right? So, yeah. Put some eyes on that steel wool, you got a little furry friend,
Just roll it around. It's a tumbleweed.
Go.
It's my pet tumbleweed.
Your pet tumbleweed.
Oh my god. Hey, Pet Rocks took off. You never know.
It could be.
Thank you. See?
She's starting a new fad.
Just hot glue some googly eyes on that shit and you're gold.
Seriously. Googly eyes are the shit.
They are.
Yeah, you put them on anything and it makes it automatically fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, those are only two cases he could find were Mr. O'Brien and then the other lady. So it's an urban legend that still persists today. Also, I think I want to say that it probably also got a resurgence in the 80s. O'Brien was back in the news because that's when his execution was coming up, but also because of the legit Tylenol scare of 1982.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was
That was big.
tainting thing where people died. So that could be another reason why I think come Halloween, parents were probably scared that might happen again, but with candy as opposed to Tylenol. But yeah.
So how many people in his case actually ended up sick? Like how many ingested it? Was it just his son?
Oddly enough, just his son. None of the other kids.
He's lucky those other parents didn't come out and just kill him. Handed my kid poisoned.
Yeah, that, and he's lucky that none of the other kids actually ate it because it would have been, multiple murders. But unfortunately, Timothy was the only one that chose the pixie stick. And since his reaction was so immediate, and since his death was so immediate, after that, none of the parents allowed their kids to eat any of the candy. So, yeah, the other 4 kids he gave it to were extremely, extremely lucky. Could have been a lot worse of a killing spree, as you could say.
Could you imagine being his daughter growing up, knowing that your dad literally poisoned your brother?
Yeah.
And then
intended to poison you too.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, you just happened to escape that fate.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
I mean, I would assume she would change her name and not want to be associated with him. As most kids of serial killers do. Not that he's a serial killer. Change your name and go by a whole person because you do not want to be associated. Especially, I'm sure she has family here in Houston still because, yeah, that's... Man.
When you move to Houston, you never leave.
No, you really don't. Leave a part of you here. Even if you go somewhere else, you still have a part of you. But yeah, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Do you know? Did this story inspire any kind of like movies or anything?
Not movies per se, but because there is a movie called Candyman, but that has nothing to do with this.
No, that's more like Hook Hand Legend, isn't it?
That's closer to Hook Hand Legend. And really the idea, it's really more along the lines of like Bloody Mary, because, you say his name 5 times and he appears in a mirror to kill you. And of course it has more to do with the horrors of slavery as well, because that's what he was, a slave who was butchered and hung and all this horrible stuff. But it does appear in some movies. I know if anyone's seen the movie Trick or Treat, which is like an anthology series, there is one wonderful story where the actor Dylan Baker gives a kid a piece of candy who promptly ends up vomiting a whole lot of stuff. And then he takes the kid downstairs and ends up killing him. It turns out he's a serial killer.
I feel like it's popped up in things like Supernatural too, because there were definitely a few episodes where witches would cast a spell and there would be razor blades inside of candy. The guy would start eating candy and then he'd start vomiting up.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah, I remember that episode. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's an episode of Monk too where the killer poisons a bunch of his wife's favorite candy because he wants to kill his wife, but then people hand it out on Halloween and he has to try to steal all the candy back.
That's intense.
It's a good episode. You should watch it.
Yeah. So, the idea of poison candy is definitely a very scary one because it has to do with our kids. And the funny thing is it has to do with the unknown, the idea that there are people out there who are, there are people out there who are psychopaths and sociopaths, but what's really scary is the fact that the real tragedy of the only actual case of this didn't come from such a person. It came from one of the people you expect to take care of you, to keep you safe. And it didn't. He didn't. Because he was such a failure as a person, his only way out he felt was try to cash in on his kid's murder, which is absolutely horrible. Now he's rotting in hell.
Yay!
I feel like there's like a resurgence in this kind of like urban legend like every few years, because wasn't it, God, I want to say like 5 years ago or something, where people were saying there were razor blades in candy, and people would take them to like metal detectors to have their candy scanned and make sure there wasn't anything in their candy. And
yeah. And in the 80s, it was really popular. It started in the 80s, but it was really popular to actually, and some hospitals did it for free, take your candy to a hospital and get it x-rayed.
They still do that here.
Yeah.
They'll do that, really?
Which, let's go ahead and expose your candy to radiation.
Yeah,
it's fine.
You're getting exposed to that all the time anyway, whatever.
All it does is it
razor blades,
sugar,
radiation.
Makes it healthier, maybe turns your kid into, Spider-Man. It's all good.
Get it back. Why is everything melted? Still good, right? I did have a question for you about his supporters.
Yeah.
Did they still support him after they heard what his final meal was, because I think that would probably solidify anybody's perception that maybe he's insane.
Wait. Okay. I need to hang on a sec. What is wrong with his final? What is wrong with steak, fries, peas, and Boston cream pie? There's nothing wrong with
Peas.
But that's not a meal.
Why would you want
Why?
peas?
Okay. All right. This begs the question. I gotta ask this. We gotta find out. All right. One at a time. What is your last meal before you're executed? We'll start with Lindsay.
Oh, I did this recently too. I would have a bowl of Niku soba ramen and a boba tea because I'm basic,
Okay.
and a slice of key lime pie for dessert.
You are a maniac.
Right?
Such
If I'm going out, what do I care about my digestive system?
man,
So
I am so scared right now. I can't even. All right, Ashley. What about you? Can you top that?
Oh, dear God. I hate this question so much. Okay, I'm gonna die anyway, so probably pizza, and then I might as well just have a bunch of cookie dough. I might as well be raw. Let's just do it.
that's what we did in the 90s as children. We would just sit and watch Unsolved Mysteries and eat raw cookie dough.
Speaking of wives' tale or urban legends, did you ever hear that one that eating raw cookie dough gave you cancer?
No.
Not cancer.
I've heard
What did
food
you-
poisoning.
Okay, what about Emily, what'd you hear?
It'll give you worms or something. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I heard cancer, and apparently it wasn't scary enough because I still did it. So
Well, yeah.
Worth it.
yeah, totally. I mean, at one point they made it in buckets, so it was easy to scoop out. You know, you didn't have to use a tube. It's like they want you to eat that stuff, so go for
They
it.
do.
You didn't
They
have to
want
cut
you
the
to
little
do it.
metal thing off the end.
You have to make sure it's good before you bake anything. Come on.
Exactly. No, Mom. The bucket of cookie dough is not to make cookies in a large capacity. It's for me to sit there with a spoon and just eat.
And just eat it. Yeah, I'm on board.
You're wrong, Mom. You're so wrong. I don't
You
care
guys-
if it says 85 servings. It's one serving for me.
Yes.
Do you guys remember Cher from Clueless?
Yes.
When she takes...
And throws the whole thing in the oven.
Could you
and then-
imagine if it was a bucket?
And then, like, burns the house
Dumps
half down because she forgets about it. Oh, yeah. Oh, honey, you cooked.
All right, Emily, what about you? What's your last meal on this earth? Before you get
Oh, my last meal? This is going to sound warped. But if you can have a last meal, you can have as much as you want to eat for your last meal, right?
Yeah,
Some
of course.
people get huge freaking meats.
Yeah.
Meats.
Meats. Well, yeah.
Meals
meat.
and feasts.
You're gonna eat a moose?
I'm going to eat a
Nope.
meat.
I'm gonna
Eat a moose?
It's a meese.
It's a man feast is what it is. You're meast.
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 So I'm going to go balls to the wall with this one.
Okay.
Not to the leg.
You're going to go balls to the leg on this one?
No, balls to the leg, balls to the wall.
Like balls to the thigh. That's right.
Throw it, see if
Coconuts
it
to
sticks.
the wall.
It does. Don't worry. It does. I saw it.
So I would do, my first course would be bruschetta because I absolutely love bruschetta.
Mm-hmm.
The best.
Okay.
And then it would have to be grilled salmon and broccoli because that is one of my favorite things in the whole world to eat. And then I'd probably be so full that I'd have to puke. Let's be real.
Okay. All right.
And then mouthwash. Brush teeth mouthwash. You're not going to enjoy the rest of it if you don't.
Why?
Steel wool mouthwash.
Well,
Steel wool.
That's what it's for.
Oh, it's called prison toothpaste. Okay.
And it doubles as a mousetrap, so it's fine.
Perfect. And then I think I'd finish it off with a Taco Bell chalupa because those are really good.
Wow.
Because Taco Bell chalupas are good and I don't have to worry about
Oh, come
tomorrow.
on. I'm
Yeah.
not
Oh my
gonna say
God.
because I don't want to get sued.
Taco Bell's
man.
good. I like it.
I will agree. Taco Bell's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm going to have healthy, and then let me finish it out with the
You're gonna
With the
die.
diarrhea.
Yeah.
You don't need to be healthy.
I'm going with, well, I like the healthy. Leave me alone.
Broccoli, broccoli.
Chop. Oh!
What about you, Chris?
All three of you are completely psychopaths.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, mine is great. It's a giant mixing bowl, big silver mixing bowl, right, full of cereal and milk, and then a giant gallon of ice cream, and then a bottle of whiskey. Boom. Kill me. I'm done.
Ooh, tequila. I didn't think of that.
Mm.
What kind of cereal, though?
Oh, it's actually a hodgepodge. Since it's a big metal mixing bowl, it'd be about 6 different cereals just all poured in, and just like 2-3 gallons of milk, and I'm just taking my time eating it, you know.
I love this idea.
You're going to get like 4
God.
bites in and it's completely soggy.
Oh my God.
That's all right. Soggy cereal is still good cereal. Or I just get Captain Crunch. That stuff never goes soggy. So
That's true. That will forever shred the roof of your mouth, but you won't have to worry about it because
Oh, yeah.
Because you're dead.
Oh yeah.
So that's fine.
You're gonna die anyway. Just do what you want.
your mouth doesn't hurt when you're dead.
Oh, food is yeah. You know what? Now I want Taco Bell. Thanks, Emily.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Because it's good.
it's good.
Well, now I want pizza, so.
Me too.
Oh. Nice. Pizza.
Yeah, Lindsay.
You know, the way to do it is to do it like they did in Signs. Do you remember the movie Signs?
Yeah.
No.
When they all thought that they knew the aliens were coming and they thought they were going to die. So they made their last meal and they all made what they wanted. It was like mashed potatoes and waffles and all kinds of weird stuff. But it was
Fuck yeah.
everybody made what they wanted. So it was this huge, weird meal. That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Get everything. Ooh, mashed
Everything.
potatoes.
Mm.
And then you just throw a bunch of water on all of the aliens, and then you're good. It was quite the Shyamalan twist.
What the
It was water the whole time.
It was water. That and doors. You just can't get past doors.
My thumbs don't work.
So shall we close this out before we continue to lose our shit?
Probably.
All right. Thank you for visiting our beautiful pizzeria and enjoying a slice of, I don't know, what did we eat?
Peas.
Boston cream pie.
Candy taint.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Hell.
I mean, tainted candy. That our lovely guest chef, Chris, served up.
No. You're gonna have to start over.
Taint.
Don't say
This doesn't taste like candy.
Candy is salty.
Oh.
Tastes like a salted nut
God.
roll to me.
Oh
I will say every time I said the word taint talking about candy, I paused for it because I was waiting for somebody to make a joke or I was going to start laughing. And then when you did, I was like, okay, I'm good. Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going.
Every time I
Held
said
it
taint, I was like,
together.
is that the right word?
no.
You're right.
Held it together earlier, falling apart now.
So you're saying I can't use that for our closing?
If you say tea,
If you say candy taint, oh my God.
Do I need to start over? Try that one again? Because we're not done with our closing yet.
yeah, I think you need to start from the top.
All right. Thank you for visiting our beautiful pizzeria and enjoying a slice of tainted poison candy served up by our delightful guest chef, Chris. Pineapple Pizza Podcast. Sweet and cheesy. Not everyone understands our awesomeness, but we're glad that you do? Question mark.
Why did you say that?
If you're enjoying the show and you'd like to help support us, check out our TeePublic shop for some amazingly fun and funny merch.
Or if you want to do a one-time donation, you can do that on buymeacoffee.com and buy us a fresh slice, because we can never get enough.
Of basically anything, if we're being honest.
If you absolutely love the show and you want to check out some fantastic bonus content, you can become a donor on Patreon and earn all kinds of amazing benefits. We have 3 tiers to accommodate almost any budget.
The $3 Mythbuster, $7 Cryptid Hunter, and $15 Storyteller.
Become a patron today and start enjoying all the perks and extra content right away.
Don't forget, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Pine App Pizza Pod. That's Pine App APP Pizza Pod.
You can also send us questions, comments, and topic ideas at pineappizzapod@gmail.com. Remember, there's the 2 P's in app. Otherwise, you're emailing someone else, and I don't want to be held responsible for that.
Thanks for stopping in for some deliciously weird morsels, and just remember, no matter how you slice it,
You're awesome.
And we love you.